Okay, welcome everybody to the SmartSend WooCommerce plugin tutorial video. So we start in the WooCommerce menu on the left here, and this is the SmartSend tab here. And we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So in the Home tab here, you've got the Setup section. If you click on the instructions, once you've installed the plugin to your store, just follow these instructions to set up the method title, which is SmartSend, and then set up the shipping zones within WooCommerce to make sure that our plugin will start returning quotes, and also for you to be able to fulfill orders via our plugin. So just follow those 8 steps there. Once you've done that, we're going to go into the WooCommerce settings section here. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have a, under the ship to specific countries, have enter in Australia there. So that's the big one initially, to make sure that you can ship to Australia via the plugin. And then if we go into the up here, we go to the that was in the general tab. Then if we go to the products tab, we go to the weight unit, which needs to be kilograms. So just make sure that's kilograms, and also the dimension unit needs to be centimeters. So obviously we're in Australia, and they're the 2 units that the transport carriers use and what we use for the plugin. So make sure that is set up, and obviously you save changes. Then go to WooCommerce, and then go into the shipping tab here while you're still in the settings. And under shipping classes, I just want to explain these are the classes that we've set up in the plugin or by default, which work with SmartSend and our carriers. So as you can see, you've got carton, crate, envelope, flat pack, and so on. So they'll appear as a shipping class or a shipping package within the plugin. Now, just be aware of some of the maximum dead weights and lengths for each of these different shipping packages. So when you're entering these for the products in your store, you need to just be aware that there are some maximums allowed. So obviously, like crate, for example, is 1 ton, but carton is only 80 kilos. So, for example, if you have a carton that's over 80 kilos, then make sure you put the carton onto a skid or a pallet, and use that as the description for the shipping class, and that way you can enter a weight over 80 kilograms, for example. So they're the ones that are there by default. And then if we go to the SmartSend tab here, you can see that there's some options here. So the method title for the shipping class is SmartSend. If you need to do some testing before you release the plugin live, just ask us for some test credentials, and we can give those to you, and then you can tick this box to enable the test mode so that it doesn't affect any quotes or fulfillment through your store. And the other 2 vital pieces of information are the VIP username and password. So when you sign up with SmartSend on one of our plans, you'll receive your VIP username and password. Enter those in here, and then it'll confirm that your account's been successfully verified, that it's a real combination of username and password. And just one other thing on this page is down the bottom here, you'll see that it will advise you of any products in your store that don't currently have a weight and dimensions and shipping class, which is a shipping package, stored against them in your store. So you can actually click on those here and go straight to the product and enter in a weight and dimensions and shipping class. Now, they're vital to make sure that shipping quotes are returned at checkout on your store. So if all your products don't have a shipping, or any of the products, that need to be shipped, not virtual products, but any products that need to be shipped, they must have a weight, dimensions, and shipping class, which is a package, stored against them in your store. And this page here will tell you any that are missing those pieces of information. And then, once you have all those updated, then basically, shipping quotes will always show at checkout on your store if that's what you require. You can also still show flat rate shipping if you need to, alongside our shipping quotes at checkout on your store if that's what you prefer. So that's possible as well. I'm just going to go over briefly the products section in the WooCommerce admin. We mentioned this in the earlier part of the video. However, I just want to harp on this because it is important. So what you need to do for each of your products is just make sure that there is a weight, dimensions, and shipping class stored. And where you do that is the shipping section here under product data. Just make sure that there's a weight in kilograms, the dimensions in centimeters in each of those three fields, and then also the package type, which we call shipping class. So you'll choose whatever it is there, and then obviously update that and save. So make sure that's done for each of the products in your store to ensure that shipping quotes are shown at checkout, and also that you can fulfill orders via the plugin as well. Okay, so we're in the SmartSend plugin now. We'll go through each of the tabs along the top here. The SmartSend plugin can be found in the WooCommerce side menu here, and then SmartSend down there. So the first, I'll start at the end here. The first tab is the support tab. So SmartSend provides support for our customers for any pickup or delivery issues. That's part of our service. So if you have any issues with any of the courier pickups or deliveries, you can just lodge a ticket there. Our staff will respond within 9 minutes during business hours on average. And also, if you have any support required for technical issues with the plugin or general questions around the plugin as well, you can lodge those tickets there. There are FAQs here which you can have a look at about our services. And also, I'd highly recommend just going to the prohibited items section here. There are certain products we can't move, like dangerous goods and other products, some other products. So just go in there and have a look at those before you start as well. We'll go into the settings tab next. So the first section here is the shipping origin section, which basically is the pickup address for your goods. So this tells the courier driver where to go and pick up the goods from so they can deliver your parcels. So just enter in your business details there. And then the next section is the checkout settings. Now, the first option here is the package type. Now, I mentioned earlier that you need to choose a shipping class, which is a package type, and store that next to each of your products in your store, along with a weight and dimensions. That ensures that the plugin can provide shipping quotes and also fulfill orders. But if you happen to not save a shipping class next to a product, the plugin will take whatever you put here as the actual package type for that particular product. So, if most of your products go out in cartons, then I would choose carton here as a default, or you can choose any of the other options here, satchel and tube and so on. If you send heavy products that require a tail lift and you don't have a forklift available, you can choose a automatic tail lift pickup service based on a certain weight. Or if, for example, you have a disability and you need help with a tail lift pickup or a two-man service, you can choose to put in a certain weight here. We'd recommend 30 kilos. That's our default anyway, where a tail lift is required for a pickup if a forklift's not available. So I would probably default by 30 kilos there, unless you needed something, a lesser weight there for whatever reason. That's only for the pickup address. We'll get into the delivery address a little bit further down. If you need to add a handling fee, if you want to increase, you can do that, increase the price by a percentage or a flat rate. You can do that here. So whatever quotes are shown at checkout via our plugin, you can add a margin onto those, and the amount you can add on here based on a percentage or a flat rate. If you only want to show the cheapest quote at checkout rather than show all quotes, you can enable that slider. And also, if you want to hide transit times for whatever reason next to quotes and only show courier names at checkout, you can do that as well by enabling this slider here. And if you want to rename the cheapest quote, if you turn on this slider and you want to rename the cheapest quote as, for example, Australia-wide shipping, or ultra fast shipping, or whatever you want to show there as the quote name at checkout. You can rename that as well, rather than what we show it with the courier name. So the recipient-related information down the bottom here is more around what happens with quotes. So, for example, our transport assurance option, that's our cover against loss or damage. You can choose to either disable that and not include that in the quotes, or you can enable it by default, which means that all quotes that are shown at checkout include our transport assurance option. So you'll pay a little bit extra to have the goods covered against loss or damage, or you can choose optional, and that will allow the customer, your buyer, to actually choose whether they want the goods covered against loss or damage and pay that extra amount as well. Our minimum transport assurance is $100 per order, and that's because we have a $100 excess on our transport assurance cover. So I would leave that at 100 unless you, for example, send high-end product and you don't want to cover goods unless they're under, over $500 value, for example. Then you would change that to $500 or whatever you want to change it to. Otherwise, leave it as 100 minimum. If you need signature on delivery, which we call our receipt of delivery service, you can choose either, at the moment it's disabled by default, or you can again enable it for all quotes so that all quotes have signature on delivery. Again, you pay a little bit extra for that. Or again, you can allow your buyer to choose, if you choose optional at checkout, whether they want to include a signature on delivery. So recipient notification is basically a tracking link email sent to your buyer, advising them of the consignment number, the estimated transit time for delivery, and a tracking link so they can track the goods themselves. That saves them annoying you, finding out when the goods being delivered. So that is an email. If you can either enable that or disable that based on your own requirements. And then handling time or a delivery delay. So if for example, you want to add on a delay on the transit time. So if for example, our quotes show a 3-day delivery time, you can add on a day or 2 days or a week, whatever you want, to that transit time. If, for example, you need time to get stock in, or that it takes you a day or two to get goods out of your warehouse, you can add that time on, and that'll show on top of the transit time. So instead of showing, for example, 3 days, it'll show, if you add on 2, it'll show 5 days transit time for quotes, or for a particular quote, it'll add on 2 days to whatever's shown. And then finally, if you, again, send heavy items that are over 30 kilos, we do require a forklift at delivery. And obviously, if you're sending to residential addresses, that's not possible. So I would enable this slider to automatically include the tail lift service if it's being delivered to a residential address and the customer hasn't entered a company name at checkout. So that'll include that service. I would enable this in either way if you know that 99.9% of your customers do not have a forklift. The drivers won't allow hand unloading of product if it's over 30 kilos. So a tail lift service or a 2-man service, the same thing, is required in that scenario. So I would enable that slider if you have heavy products that go out. And then obviously click Save to save all those changes. Okay, so we're into the Packages tab next. Now, this Packages tab is different to the earlier tab I showed you at the start of the video. This Packages tab is any sort of default packages that you have in your warehouse that you package product into regularly. For example, if you have a small box, a medium box, if you have a large box, for example, you can enter those in here. You can choose the type of package that it is, if it's a satchel or tube, whatever. In this one, it will say it's a carton, and you might say it's 150 long by 50 by 30 centimeters, and it can take, and it generally weighs 10 kilos when you send it out. So you can save those packages here, and they'll show when you fulfill orders, which I'll show you in a moment. So that's where you save packages. Next is the orders section. So this is where you'll fulfill orders. So as you can see here, you've got a number of different columns, the order number, which you can click on and go directly to the WooCommerce orders page, the pickup date that you've scheduled for a particular order, whether it's fulfilled or unfulfilled, ready to be fulfilled, the customer name, the items that were in the order, the shipping cost that was chosen by the buyer or you at either at checkout or fulfillment, the carrier name that's being chosen for that particular order, and the tracking number. You can click on the link here to track the goods within your store. And obviously you can print labels or even delete orders if you need to. So to fulfill an order, you basically click on purchase label. You'll start at the top left here. You'll choose a pickup time. It'll default to 12 to 4, but you'll choose a pickup time you want the driver to arrive to pick up, and then a pickup date. So you can move forward 2 weeks in advance if you want to. And then by default, the first quote that's shown here in this field is the quote that was shown by the customer. That was chosen by the customer at checkout. So this one was the Couriers Please, $13.41. But for whatever reason, if you want to choose a different quote, you can do that by the list of quotes that were shown for this order. The items in the packaging section here are the actual product weight and dimensions that you have stored against that product in the store. You can also choose to custom package, which is the packaging tab that I showed you earlier. So this is where you can choose you want to say, okay, this order is going to go out in my small box. You click on add save package, that small box appears, and then click save. And now down the bottom here, you can click refresh quotes, or you can choose on extra quote options if you want to. So once you click refresh quotes, new quotes will be returned via the plugin, and they'll show up here. So you'll then choose a quote. You'll see that Couriers Please quote has changed in price because the package and receipt of delivery were chosen. So you'll click on that, and then you're down the bottom here, you'll click on purchase label, and then you can, once that's finished fulfilling with the carrier in our system, it'll finalize that order, and you'll see that it'll return the tracking number and the label. There we go. And if you want to print that label, you can click on print label, and that'll open in a PDF. So yeah, that's basically the fulfillment section. You can choose how many orders you want, records you want in per page, and that's pretty much it. So this is an example of our shipping quotes showing at cart level down the bottom here. So you've got a flat rate, which is just set up by the merchant in the store, which has nothing to do with our plugin. But any of these quotes below that show courier names, that they're via our plugin, you can reduce the amount of quotes that are shown as well via the settings, either in the plugin or in your VIP account, based on which carriers you want to use. So this is cart level. If you'd like to, you can have a look here at checkout level as well. Similar scenario there. It'll show there as the customer changes their address details here, that the quotes change in real time within a few seconds as well. So that's at cart and checkout level.